Hello and welcome to this new episode of Good Steps Sustainability Conversation. Join me in welcoming our guest for today, Mr. Mahesh Chandak. Mr. Chandak, welcome to this conversation.
Thank you, Preeti.
Mr. Mahesh Chandak has more than 25 years of experience across diverse sectors in geography. Currently, he is leading the SSHE, which is Sustainability, Safety, Health and Environment function for South Asia at Bayer, and he has been actively involved in promoting this, not just in his own organization, but in the entire industry community, so that the best practices, either be it road safety or on the plant or industrial safety, can be adopted by more and more in the ecosystem. And we'll know more about how this all started and how they do it in this conversation. I'm sure we are all going to learn a lot from his experiences across different geography segments and, more importantly, on something which affects each of us today: sustainability, health, and safety. And of course, all this coming as a part of environment. So, welcome, Mr. Chandak.
Thank you, Preeti. Thank you so much.
So, we all have been hearing sustainability more often these days, sir. And it is it has been used for many years, but now it is used more frequently. What do you think of it as an individual? What does it mean to you as an individual?
Yeah. No, thanks for the question and this opportunity to interact. And I say hello to my audience. And I also want to say a special hello to all our women audience in the team. We are very close to the Women's Day on March 8th. And on a lighter note, even the name of my function, Preeti tried to explain sustainability, safety, and environment, but I just call it as a she function. So we need to be inclusive and warm welcome to all of you. Coming back to your question, Preeti, on what sustainability means to me. Obviously, there is a textbook definition of sustainability. People talk of, not taking away the rights of the future generation. There is also the whole buzzword of people, planet, profit that we talk of. But for me, sustainability is all about a balanced growth. And when I say balance, I think of a stool in my mind, and the stool with three legs. One is the whole economic leg, wherein we have corporates, countries, we talk of GDP and development, which is very important to keep growing. Equally important for me is the second leg, which is the community, because a community can be customers, can be consumers, can be people around our facilities, and the whole society. And we need to take them along also. They should also be developing, and that's why we have the Sustainable Development Goal, wherein we talk of no poverty, good health and well-being. And I think we need to improve on that dimension. And according to me, the third, and most important part of this pillar of this tool is nature. And whether we take flora, fauna, we talk water, air pollution, etc. We need to also improve on these dimensions because they have started impacting us. They've started impacting our climate and weather conditions and health and everything. So I think a balanced growth in economy, community, and nature is, according to me, sustainability.
Very well. So, in fact, yes, that is very important thing, that it is something which is not just alien only to the industries and the corporate function. It is impacting the rising temperatures, are impacting all of us as well as our food chains which are there. So, Mr. Chandak, where did it all start? Like, when were you first introduced to this whole concept of balance, the whole concept of being in alignment with the nature? Was there any particular incident? And how did this journey from engineering to sustainability, safety, environment? So, tell us about that part.
Yeah. As you ask this question, I'm getting a lot of flashback memories, and I see myself finishing chemical engineering from IIT Bombay, and that was the time I passed out in '92. I'm giving away my age here, but we need to be true to the story. So passed out in '92, and I was thinking as a chemical engineer, what I really want to do. That was a time in India, everybody, from good institutes could just go abroad and have a good career. But that somehow did
Right.
not excite me. I was thinking, what an engineer should solve for? What am I supposed to solve for? So I joined the industry. I joined a petrochemical plant like any other chemical engineer would, and I was working in that field. And that's when I realized that a lot of chemical engineering is already being solved for. There are wonderful plants, processes, etc. And that was also the time India was opening up as an economy. If you remember the 1992 budget, India
Right.
opened up its doors to foreign investment, and I could see that India will get foreign investment, and India will improve on being an industrial economy, and we'll have more and more types of companies coming in. And when we look at Western world, which is at least a couple of centuries ahead of us, they started industrial revolution much earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They are grappling still with the problem of environment, of pollution control, as I used to say that time. They had contaminated sites in US. They are doing huge remediation projects, and I felt, is that the
Mm-hmm.
path India should be going, or when it
Right.
is opening up the economy? And my answer was clear, no. I did not know all these fancy words of balanced sustainability, what you asked me earlier. But I felt no, if industry comes in, we don't want pollution to come in. And unlike the Western world, can we not reinvent the wheel and end up doing a lot of, what I call end of pipe treatment, treating our wastewater discharges, taking care of air pollution control equipment, but really integrating pollution control into the process. And that's where I felt as a chemical engineer, that's very exciting to me. So two things happened for me at that moment, which was an aha moment for me. A, I realized India is the place I want to be. So I did go to US. I did do my masters at the University of Cincinnati, which is where the US Environment Protection Agency is based, to get some real on the ground experience of delivering some research projects to solve air and water pollution control challenges. Uh, but then I wanted to come back to India because that's where I could see that there is going to be growth in this area, both industry development and need for better environment. And that's where I said I will work in India, but focus on the environmental pollution control at that time. Then as I went on and I joined a consulting firm and I was working with various sectors and so on, I could see that evolution from what we used to call pollution control to the word environment, to environment sustainability, and also health, safety, human rights, sustainable supply chain. And as all these fields evolved in India, I also then evolved and tried to learn more and more, and I'm still learning. So that's in a nutshell, what really sparked the idea and how I developed.
So, Mr. Chandak, that was how your career into this domain started. But in terms of if we talk about at your personal level, would you like to share some of the practices which you started following or which you follow currently, which you have found to be very effective from a health perspective, especially, which is good for the environment and also for the health of us?
Yeah. So on a personal front, I try to obviously, limit my needs and wants. So whether it is, you know, using ride sharing apps when I commute to office, public transport to the extent possible. That's a little bit what I do on environment. I always try to focus on some topics which society needs. So road safety has been a very important topic for me because in India we still lose 170 or 1,000 lives every year. And that's an area I think we need to develop. We are getting better roads, but not the culture to drive on those roads. So that's an area
Right,
of focus for me. Uh, I also feel in all of this, when we say sustainability, we also have to be sustainable as humans. So we can't be just working and not respecting our work life balance. And so taking care of my own personal physical health, mental health, spiritual health, I feel is very important. So for me, yoga is the my go to regime in terms of exercise, and I try to do 3 times a week. It not just helps me physically but also flexibility and also the mindset to stay relaxed in all this chaotic and VUCA world. So that's a little bit about me.
yeah, wonderful. I think exercising in some or the other form is which also helps us keep our not just our physical body healthy, our mental. There's so much of clutter which happens these days. It's really important and it helps you think through. So
And
quite
one
a
more thing I
believer
just
in
want
that.
to Yeah, one more thing I just want to add about yoga. What I really like is, apart from all the benefits which everybody knows, I think yoga is a very minimalistic exercise. It just needs
Right.
you, and sometimes a mat, and sometimes not even a mat. If you can manage, so you can just do it anywhere. And I think that's how we have to learn that pleasures and benefits don't lie in materialistic things, but just spending time with ourselves and going deeper. And I think yoga is a wonderful way, which I can do anytime, anywhere, without anything.
Absolutely. And I also like the part which you mentioned, like a lot of times what happens is when for other higher education, when people move, so that the urge, the motivation to come back to the country is not there for whatever reasons. But since you decided you took that step, so really commendable. So that was I
On
think,
that on that one, I would just say to the audience who is in that situation dilemma, either as parents or yourself, I think of what your country will need 10 years from now, 20 years from now. If you can get in that field, even if today that field is very nascent, is not a popular choice for many, but if you have that long-term North Star to guide you in your career, eventually it happens. And I think these waves of transformation are in fact happening faster and faster now. So those who thought of AI, for example, right? You do not have to spend. For me, it was 20-year journey, 25-year journey. For you, it was not even a 2-year journey since we knew what is AI, and now AI taking over many things. So I think just follow your passion, purpose, and make it your north star. I think you will not feel. Uh, it's not about the money you make; it's about the satisfaction you get. And every Monday morning will be as exciting as a Friday evening for you.
wonderful. So you started your journey at a time when India was opening up that time. So a lot of foreign investments coming, lot of increase in the industrialization, production, and all that. So how have you seen this particular focus on the sustainability, environment, and safety? I think health has come at a later part of it. So how has that evolved in India as an industry over the period? How has that evolution been?
No, I think if you see the field, I think it has really evolved nicely. India is one of those countries, I think all stakeholders, be it government, be it corporates, be it civil society, and be it citizens, we have taken a very natural liking to, I think, sustainability, because that's where our roots were. We were a very sustainable society, which would
Right.
even eat on a banana leaf, which would get recycled, and there was no use of chemicals or non-eco-friendly materials. So I think that was our core, and now that it is mainstream, we have taken a natural liking. So whether it's government, which has set a target of 500 gigawatt of solar energy, and we are going to achieve it much earlier than 2030. The whole mission life by government, which is lifestyle for environment, gives us a real nice guiding force, because not everything can be regulatory driven. It has to be a guiding force, and government is a taking
Absolutely.
leadership in action, and b giving us a guiding force and not just a bunch of regulations, because that doesn't work. If you take corporates, Indian companies, both large scale, are making audacious target on sustainability and integrating that with functions. If you take small scale startups, MSME, you see a lot of innovation in how they manufacture something, and that you see a lot of wonderful business models where somebody is recycling something to make a nice product, somebody is talking of responsible fashion, somebody is and so on. A lot of examples all around us. Shared mobility, you see. So I think we have taken a nice liking to it, because that is what will help make in India. That will what will help make India part of global supply chain and compete with some of the other countries, with whom we need to compete. So I see a great progress. I am a natural optimist. Just a warning, disclaimer from my side. So I see a lot of positives in everything that happens around us, and I only see that. And yes, there's a long road ahead, but we are moving at the right pace in the right direction.
So I like this optimism. For me, the word sustainability first, when it came, was some 15 years back when in lending to a particular company. So my manager said the pace at which they are growing, whether it is sustainable or not. So but it's good to know that a lot of other companies are also balancing that and not just looking at the short-term growth, but at a long-term holistic picture. So wonderful. So, Mr. Chandak, now talking specifically about the work which you are driving here at Bayer. So, tell us about, in simple terms, as a consumer for me or somebody else looking into it. So, what are the areas we interconnect there? So, one area I think I can relate to is the rice, which is our main food, part of our food palette, where Bayer is driving some innovation because it has been rice has been in the bad light because of the water consumption which it takes to grow it. So, what is happening there, as well as in other segments which affect us as consumers. So, the good steps which are being taken at Bayer, and we can know more about it in a simpler
Yeah.
way.
No, I think we could have a separate podcast just on what Bayer does. But to keep it simple and short, like you said, I will make an attempt. So yes, let's talk of rice, what you put it. Yes.
Yes.
So for our audience, I want to ask what Preeti is saying, rice is known for water content. Do you have any idea how much water is required to make just 1 kg of rice? As you think or you Google, that number is 3,500 liters per kg
Right.
of rice, which is required. And so it's not just a large proportion of what is used in agriculture. It is by far almost half of the water used in agriculture goes just in that one crop, rice cultivation. And for India, it's very important because we are the second largest producer of rice in the world. And so a lot of farmers are in rice cultivation, which consumes so much water. Water is not the only problem. Rice cultivation today, the way it happens in puddles, when you go to the countryside during monsoon, you will see the farmer standing in puddle of water in the field and trying to transplant the rice. It also generates methane emission because that's the anaerobic process at the roots of those saplings. And 20% of total methane emission because of any kind of activity we do as humans is only from
Mm-hmm.
rice cultivation. I'm also including industry here. And
Mm-hmm.
methane, we all hear of CO2 a lot, and we talk of
Right.
decarbonization and CO2 emissions. Methane is 28 times more potent for ozone depleting than oxygen, than CO2. So that's the nature of the problem, the extent of the problem. So Bayer is into rice seed. We make hybrid rice seed. So for us, it's a
Mm-hmm.
downstream problem. It is not a supply chain problem. But being a good corporate citizen, like many companies are, we need to worry. Like today, denim needs to worry how much water a user of denim will use over the entire lifespan of using the denim. And as you know, denim you can use for years unless we go out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Right.
a lot of water is used. So for us, it is about our customer farmer when they take rice seed, how they cultivate rice. So we introduce new cultivation technique. One of them is called direct seeded rice. Other is
Right.
called alternate wetting and drying. And by this, you can read up on the internet. You can use techniques like drip irrigation. You can use technique like conservation tillage, etc. All of which together can result in substantial saving. And if I quote them, you can reduce water consumption by not 2%, 5%, almost 40%. You can
Right.
reduce GHG emission by 45%. You can reduce labor cost by 10 to 50%.
Oh,
You can improve
wonderful.
soil health, and you improve the whole agronomic practices. So the same rice, what you and I eat, can be much more greener because of these practices. Now, this is all good on paper. It's all good in our podcast. The challenge is it is very difficult to change the habit of the farmer, a small farmer
Mm-hmm.
who's cultivating it on own land and doing it for generations, because
Right.
they have done it the same way. It's like how we drove the same way. We can't change our habits easily to wear a seat belt on the rear seat. And I take the opportunity to remind all of you to take that good step as Preeti's company name and start wearing seat belts on the back seat. Farmers don't change habits easily. So we are trying to incentivize that by having a unique called India Carbon Program. It is there on our website. I invite you to have a look, in which involves training of farmers, monitoring, and registering them, those who want to change, and eventually for all the benefit that they cause you and me because of reduced methane emission, reduced water consumption, can they be incentivized? Can they not just sell rice in the market, but they can also sell carbon in a market in a way because they reduce carbon emission and giving them some
Oh,
credit for that.
wonderful.
So we are piloting that, and it started with very few acres, and now it has scaled up to a large project. We are also working with International Rights Research Institute to make it a societal. I talked of society as one of the pillars. We have to get into society. One company cannot do it alone. So it's a long journey ahead, but I see again as an optimist. We have made the start. Company like Bayer are working on the technology. We are taking civil society along to change the behavior of the farmer, government, these new mechanisms of like carbon credits, and hopefully we will see a change, and that will help us, all of us, in the years ahead.
Mr. Chandak, is that at an initial stage right now, or farmers have started adopting it, like certain section of farmers? So, what is the
It
current
is in
status in
various stages in various countries. So Indonesia, Philippines, India, Philippines, all Southeast Asian countries, we are one of the larger producers. So it is in various stages. But in India, it is still, I would say, beyond a lab scale into more like a pilot, increasing in various states, because it's also we have to take the state governments along. So it is all happening as we speak, and also taking the whole ecosystem with us. It's not just one company. So this is this whole project is part of our initiative to reduce GHG emission in the crops that we deal in by 30% overall. So rice is one of those high impact crops, and overall our impact target, in agriculture is to benefit 100 million smallholder farmers across the world by
Okay.
techniques and tools which will improve their livelihood and improve their productivity. And there are many other, targets like any company would have on scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, etc. On environment, we also have targets to reduce the carbon footprint of the products that are used in agriculture, and also then we have targets on human rights, social aspects. So overall comprehensive ESG. I invite all of you to read our sustainability report. The one for 2024 December end will come out soon this month. The one for 2023 came out in March 24 and is there on our website.
Wonderful. I think by 26 or sometime around that, we will be able to, as consumers, will be able to experience some of these rice crops with lower water consumption and not feel guilty about consuming rice. So, wonderful initiative, even though it was not directly impacting the value chain, but it is for supporting the ecosystem what your company is driving. So, one last question I would like to ask you. So, somebody new who wants to start their journey in sustainability, on a personal sustainability level, two practices you will recommend and why?
Yeah. So, I wouldn't tell people what to do, but I will just be able to tell them how to go about it. So, two things: A, look at your personal life, and B, look at your profession. In personal life, look at your lifestyle, day-to-day lifestyle, how you commute, how much air conditioning you use, how much natural light versus artificial light you use. And there are tools available on internet wherein you can calculate your own individual carbon footprint. And there is
Right.
something called Earth Overshoot Day, and you can calculate what is your personal overshoot day, how much of an excessive user of energy and carbon emitter you are. Do that analysis and then change your lifestyle. One or two habits, if you can change, which are most impactful, I think you will do a great benefit, and then spread the word around to your friends and family to do the same. That's on personal front. Coming to your professional work, sorry, I did not. It's not. I'm talking only energy. Okay, in personal. Look at water that you consume. How long you take to take a bath, and what kind of shower you use, what kind of taps you use, and waste that you generate. Are you segregating waste? I know Preeti does a wonderful job on waste, and I've seen her course on Udemy. I also encourage you to take that and look at your lifestyle
Thank you.
holistically, and don't just think in terms of one dimension. You can take one step in each dimension. Then comes your profession. And I think I can safely say today, whichever industry we are, there is a sustainability angle to it. On both sides, sustainability can be part of your business model, and you can come up with innovative products and services which are more sustainable and beat competition, because that's what is happening today, because it gives you direct ROI also. And second, reduce the impact because of your profession. So if in your profession you are having certain activities which are consuming, releasing CO2 or consuming water and generating waste, etc., you can see how you can reduce. So reduce the, look at the bottom line and also improve the top line. And I think the opportunity and the benefit and the differentiator which you want to be to your consumer will come because of sustainability. Sustainability is not an add-on. It can be that extra X factor which you can bring to your work that you do. So think of it this way and keep improving year on year. I think we all need to do that and take these good steps. They may be small, but they will be good steps.
Yes, let's take small steps, which is enough. Let's do that consistently. Thank you, Mr. Chandak, so much for your time and sharing your experiences and insights. I'm sure a lot of people will benefit out of it, will get to know about these things, and would be inspired to start their journey or at least explore more about it if they have not already. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for this sparing this time and sharing your experience with us.
Thank you, Priti. Bye, everybody.
Bye.